I found the exact chart that predicts the altcoin power cycle. Is something that we've been studying extensively, and the information I'm going to give you guys in this video is undeniable. You can research it for yourself. It's going to give you a very clear prediction on when are these cryptocurrencies going to take off. We see all the crypto videos, we see all the recommendations, but the question is, when are we going to see the gains? When are we going to see 100,000% return on my altcoin, bro? I'm trying to get super duper rich. Now, obviously, when it comes to any prediction, it's not perfect. The only thing perfect is me. That's a joke. Don't take it serious. Don't be weird. But seriously, these charts are just numbers. They're predictions, they're guesstimates, they're research. So you should be doing research yourself, my friend, if you are watching this. You should not just be watching me blindly on YouTube and dumping your entire life savings into altcoins because of somebody on YouTube. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. But if you dump your life savings into Aerodrome, I won't be mad. I won't be mad. And the chart that I am talking about is this monstrosity here. I'm going to be explaining this chart in the video, which I believe accurately predicts the altcoin power cycle. This chart, me and you, watch the video. But first we have to define what the charts do. The first section on the top is the BLX. On TradingView, it's a comprehensive index that aggregates the price of Bitcoin across multiple major exchanges, providing a long-term and historical view of Bitcoin's market performance. And that's this top part right here. It's basically Bitcoin's price. The second part is the ELX, which is basically the same exact thing. So both of these charts, the BLX and the ELX, are the longest data sets we have for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bitcoin is BLX, Ethereum is ELX. Now this third pink line here is the ELX divided by the BLX. So this is Ethereum divided by Bitcoin. And this illustrates the price ratio of Ethereum to Bitcoin, highlighting their relative performance and strength over time. Basically, if this chart goes up, that means Ethereum is doing better than Bitcoin. If this chart goes down, that means that Bitcoin is doing better than Ethereum. When it comes to any pair, the one in the front shows up. The one in the back shows down. So meaning the ELX right here in this moment did better than Bitcoin, and this is the ratio between them. And this is important because it shows Ethereum dominating Bitcoin, right? These are the two biggest coins on the market. Ethereum pretty much represents all of the altcoins, and then Bitcoin represents Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin was out first. There's more infrastructure, there's more liquidity. Bitcoin kind of represents the entire market. So looking at that chart just really shows you Ethereum versus the entire market. Now, the last chart's a little complicated, but you have to understand the total three, which basically represents the market capitalization of all cryptocurrencies, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, providing insight into the performance and dominance of altcoins in the overall cryptocurrency market. So we have the ELX, which is Ethereum, we have the BLX, which is Bitcoin, and then we have the total three, which is every other coin, excluding the two big ones, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum. And this shows us the dominance of all the other altcoins on the market, which is really important. Now, if you just take a look at that bottom part here, it really does say the total three divided by the ELX. So again, we have the total three, which is like every other altcoin in the market, and we're dividing that by Ethereum, meaning this shows every other coin in comparison to Ethereum, right? So this is like the power cycle. This is what I've been talking about in multiple videos, where all of the altcoins just start skyrocketing, and it even outcompetes Ethereum, Bitcoin, all the top coins. This is where the vast majority of the wealth in cryptocurrency is made. It's like a specific period of time. Let me show you. So as you can see from these charts here, this was in 2021. So we're looking at the top percentage increase coins on the market, meaning the coins that basically made you the most money. You could see that Bitcoin's price pretty much topped out, but there's like this specific period of time, look, February 2021, where it just went insane. I mean, there was just a period of time where like these altcoins went crazy. And the crazy part about this is that it's very consistent. Every single top 10 altcoin by percentage increase around this time period, January, February of 2021, look, same thing happened. Look right here. Same thing happened. We're talking about, look at January of 2021, right here. December, January of 2021, 100% of all of the most lucrative altcoins, look, 2021, 100% of them all started taking off in a very select period. And this is what I call the power cycle. There's an overall altcoin cycle that everybody talks about, but I get very specific. There's an overall altcoin cycle, everything does well. And then there's a power cycle within the altcoin cycle where we see this, because we're all looking for the 100Xs, right? We're looking for the 50Xs. You can't make the claim that that happens for a year straight. It doesn't. The power cycle is usually a month, maybe 2 months max, and we see it all happening in one period of time. That is what we're looking for. So again, we see right here, January 2021. This is 2021 cycle. It was really consistent. This was a coin that was the only outlier. Gala Games came towards the tail end of the cycle. It didn't happen when there was, the big power cycle, right? But right here, January, you see pretty much every other coin was around that time period, right? Shiba Inu was a little bit later as well. But there's, again, a very specific time, and I'm trying to pinpoint that. That's the purpose of all these videos. If you've been watching my last video, I went over exactly why it happened. Like, were the exact events that catalyzed it, essentially narrative economics. I went over all of those details. So today we're going to be talking about exactly when it's going to happen. And I'm going to try to line it up with this total 3 Ethereum chart. All right, so now that you understand all the charts, right, we have Bitcoin's price, Ethereum's price, we have Ethereum versus Bitcoin, and then we have all other altcoins versus Ethereum. So this shows like the exaggerated altcoin cycle, I believe. The total 3 divided by Ethereum shows when altcoins did even better than Ethereum. So that's like, to me, like the power cycle. And it really lines up with my previous research as well, where I went over these specific details. But look at this right here. So if we look at that purple line, you could see that there was kind of like this exaggerated blowout. Right? Look at this big exaggerated blowout. It's pretty big. And at the same period of time, we see Ethereum outcompeting Bitcoin. Now, there was another period of time where Ethereum outcompeted Bitcoin. Unfortunately, we don't have that data. I don't know what happened to altcoins around that period of time, according to this chart. But I do know that this second time around, when we saw this big major cycle where Ethereum started dominating Bitcoin, we saw the total 3 just go crazy as well in comparison to Ethereum. So it was like Ethereum beat Bitcoin, all other altcoins beat Ethereum. That is what you call a power cycle. Now, if we look at Bitcoin's price, this actually started at the top here. Let me just pull it down so you can see it clearly. At the top of Bitcoin. So we had this big Bitcoin cycle, and at the top where people were most excited about crypto, this is when this happened. Specifically right here, you see Ethereum also moving as well. And then we see Ethereum dominance increasing. And then we see specifically altcoins going insane. So the first thing to draw there is that it comes again towards the top of Bitcoin. Everything I've been researching has been showing that towards the top of Bitcoin is when this power cycle starts to commence. And it's pretty consistent even with the 2021 cycle. But there's a number I want you to remember. Look at this right here. So we have 476 days to when this exaggerated increase started happening. But also remember, there could have been an altcoin cycle over here. I'm just using this as a prediction. But there could have been an altcoin cycle that happened there as well. There's just no way to tell. So just remember that, because we're going to be using that to make a guesstimate to when our current power cycle is going to happen, so that you guys could be positioned for that, right? Get more money in the market, do whatever you have to do to take advantage of these 1,000%, 50,000. You guys know the deal, man. I don't know how many times I got to say it. I keep showing you the same evidence over and over again. It's real. It's going to happen, but it's going to be with volatility. So you got to put your head down and literally study as much as you possibly can, develop the faith and conviction to be able to hold through this volatility and these crazy times, because we know we have the presidential election coming up. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful. You can't just be super gambly, okay? Gambling is a common thing in crypto. Don't be the guy that gambles. Understand what's going on, right? So if we go to the new cycle, which is 2021, this was our most previous one. I'm not talking about the current cycle. This is the most new altcoin cycle we have ever seen. We have this exaggerated period where the total 3 just skyrocketed. Now we're looking at the orange line, which is the Bitcoin halving. That's like time in crypto. If you look at time, Bitcoin halving kind of dictates the cycles, right? So again, from this Bitcoin halving to when this exaggerated power cycle started, we have 476 days. from this Bitcoin halving to the power cycle starting, we have 268 days. And as you can see right here, this was again at the top of Bitcoin's price. Now, Ethereum kept going up in price right here. Ethereum kept going up. It didn't stop. So we have Bitcoin topping out and Ethereum just kept going up. And this is also where the power cycle started. Okay, this right here, as you can see, this is this exaggerated total 3. All the other altcoins did even better than Ethereum, and it just went crazy. Now, let me show you something, because if you look at the dates, again, I showed you the previous charts. It was like January, February of 2021. And again, these are all the top producing coins. So if you look at it, look, we got January, February. It's all consistent. This indicator works. This indicator works. Listen, it's showing you the consistency. I'm showing you all this is price. This is just a price chart. So when these things started going viral in 2021, it was around the same period of this purple line just going crazy right here. So this is what you call the power cycle. This is where all the money's made. So also I want to show you from previous research, and you can reference my old videos, but again, same thing. I talked about this Bitcoin dominance chart dropping. So this is Bitcoin dominance. This is when Bitcoin dominance drops. But the problem with this is it only shows Bitcoin over the entire market in comparison. What we need to see is not only Bitcoin losing dominance for us to see an altcoin season, but we also need to see, total 3 taking dominance from Ethereum. So it's almost like the money flows from Bitcoin into Ethereum. And now Ethereum is used as the gas for the network. So if you buy any coin, you essentially use Ethereum to get there, right? So it's kind of like Bitcoin. People are like, I don't know about Bitcoin. It's kind of old. We had Bernstein predicting Bitcoin goes to, 200K by 2025. That's pretty good, but that's only a 200% return from where we're at. Literally only a 2x, right? So people are like, oh, the opportunity is not there. Let's go from Bitcoin, and then they go into Ethereum so they can buy coins, right? So they go into Ethereum so they can buy coins. That's utility. Sometimes they'll hold Ethereum, but most of the time you're buying altcoins with Ethereum, right? They take the Ethereum and then they go and buy a whole bunch of altcoins. It's like this cycle, the money flows. And then when everybody makes that decision to start buying altcoins, this is the power cycle. And again, it's very consistent from what I've been talking about. So Bitcoin losing dominance is not a perfect chart. It shows everything over the entire market, but even that is consistently lining up. So as you can see right here, this was the exact top of Bitcoin's price. So at the bottom, this is BOLX, is Bitcoin's price. We see kind of like Bitcoin dominance decreasing, but then there was this exaggerated, crazy, just crazy. And again, it's lining up. 2021 at least was January, February, March, April, around this period. Look right here, March is when it actually started. So these altcoins just really went crazy, and then just Bitcoin dominance just went all the way down, and it was by the top of Bitcoin. So that's what we know is consistent. We know for a fact that there's a power cycle close to the top of Bitcoin. The question is, what's the top of Bitcoin? No one knows for sure. But we did, just to give you, a hypothetical so you understand, the last top of Bitcoin was a spot ETF filing. So there was news that a Bitcoin spot ETF was being filed by Fidelity. That ended the market. That was the top of Bitcoin, at least for this one. We did run back up, but the second end right there was ProShares Bitcoin Futures ETF. So there was a spot ETF news that ended the cycle the first time, and then the second time there was a futures ETF launch. So not really news, I guess you could say that's news, but an actual launch, and that's what ended it there. So what I believe is going to end Bitcoin is going to be some type of crazy, positive, legitimate Bitcoin news. And my prediction is basically it could be Bitcoin Strategic Reserve launched by President Trump. So if Trump gets elected in the next couple weeks and he launches the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, this is the biggest positive Bitcoin news in recent history that's legit. It's like a legit, it's not just like random news. Like, you guys have to understand the difference between fluff news, right? There's like different levels of information. There's fluff news, and then there's like legitimate quality news. Like, for example, El Salvador making Bitcoin legal tender. Although that's news, it's very legit. It's a country making a coin legal tender. Like, that's absurd, right? So you have to read between the lines when it comes to analyzing news. Most people just look at the surface. They don't really read into it. They're looking at the titles, and most of it is paid. People don't know this, but if you go on Google, you type in crypto news, like 95% of all of that is paid. Pay attention. Developing the skill is not that hard. All you have to do is read between the lines. and learn something I call timeline price analysis. It's a concept that I've created that basically looks into all of the coins' history to simulate exactly what went on. So I don't need to be a part of the 2017 cycle. I don't need to be a part of 2021 cycle to understand what went on, because I could simply simulate exactly what went on through timeline price analysis. And if you want access to that, go to the pinned comment below to my website. It gives you access to the groups. And there you'll learn timeline price analysis and much more. That's just one concept that we teach. So just to sum it up for you, this chart that we've been talking about, that we've gone through timeline price analysis, right? This is all timeline price analysis. This entire chart lines up with what we've been recently looking at, which is this total 3 versus Ethereum chart. And it shows the altcoin season specifically. Now the question is, what exactly is going to happen for us in the future for us to make money off this altcoin cycle and be positioned, right? Because maybe you have some money on the side that you want to inject into the market. Maybe you're not in the market, or maybe you want to just gain some more cash so that you can put it in the market. Well, here's the prediction, right? So again, all we did, very simple. Again, these are just numbers. It's just giving you a range. It's not supposed to be perfect. The goal here is just kind of see from history what's kind of the time horizon, right? The first time from the Bitcoin halving to the start of this altcoin cycle, we have 476 days. The second time we have from the Bitcoin halving to this altcoin cycle was 268 days. Now, if we take this prediction and essentially look at the decay rate, so the decay rate is basically looking at the percentage by which it decayed. So what that means is like this first number versus the second number, how much percent did it drop by? And then using that percentage to essentially predict the next number. The next number was about 150 days. And that brings us to September 2024. So technically, we're potentially already in that cycle. Now, obviously, we have presidential elections. We have moves from the Federal Reserve. So personally, I don't believe we're in that cycle. And I could prove that by looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart. You could see very clearly that Bitcoin dominance has been increasing. So I don't think we're in the altcoin cycle, but it does give you a range to understand, hey, we're in that period of time. Like something's about to happen very soon. And I've been telling you guys, I believe something's going to happen, especially with the presidential election. I think there's going to be some crazy volatility. I think there's going to be a big drop in the market. And then we're going to like enter the altcoin cycle and it's going to be crazy. So prepare yourself what's about to go down. Now, if we look at the second golden line, this essentially averages those two things out. So average of this and this. It's just simply an average, right? And that takes us to February of 2025. Again, the consistency is absurd. I've been making predictions on this altcoin cycle in different ways, and they're all pointing to January, February of 2025. I've said this time and time again. Over and over again, the ranges are just so clear from every perspective. It's pointing to the beginning of 2025. So for me, before the year ends, I will be entering back into the market, into the altcoins we always talk about. So my research is about to shift to understanding what altcoins I'm going to buy. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's going to get insane. And hopefully you understand that this altcoin cycle is real. I've been talking about it for so long. It's something that I kind of dedicated my life to, because I originally turned $7,000 into millions in this entire empire through investing in Ethereum before the altcoin cycle. It's a real thing that happens, and I don't think it's going to happen forever. People don't comprehend this, but as crypto gets bigger and bigger, it gets less and less lucrative through the law of diminishing returns, through more people adopting, and just through more competition. These coins will not go up by these percentages like ever. I've proved that in so many different videos that the percentage increase on the altcoin cycle, they're diminishing, although they're still phenomenal. You know, 1,000, 3,000, 4,000% increase on an altcoin is absurd, and it's great. It's amazing. It's not going to be here forever. So when I say things like once in a lifetime, break generational poverty opportunity, I genuinely mean that. There's only been 2 other times in history we have ever experienced anything close to this. The first time was through the printing press, through the increase of communication of books. The second time was the creation of the internet. And this third time is the creation of the decentralization of value. What you guys don't understand is that we are taking every dimension and now bringing it onto the internet. Right now, the internet is just simply a communication vehicle. I don't know if you guys knew that, but the way the current internet works, all you could do is essentially communicate through social media. It just shows different types of communications, YouTube. I mean, Everything is just communication. If you think about what the internet is, email, even when you type something in Google, that's a search algorithm. That's communication. The entire internet is a massive aggregation of different types of communication. With blockchain technology, we are going from communication to taking actual tangible value and bringing it on the internet. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope you are hearing me out. I hope. Because in 5 years, looking back to this video, you're going to be like, I wish I took more advantage of these altcoin cycles. Do everything you can. Get a second job. Dump more money into the market. Kill that bad habit of eating out too much so that you could put more into investments. Think about your children. Think about your daughter, your son. Think about all of the people around you. Do you realize that everybody around you will get elevated as you elevate in crypto? Stop talking about it and be about it. Do something. Do something different. Shake up your life. Shake up your life. I just recently put sugar on the altar. I gave it to God. I said, I'm not eating sugar no more because I crash. I get tired and it's taken away from all of this opportunity that you presented to me, God. And I gave away sugar. I gave away coffee. I gave away bread. I'm just putting it at the altar. I'm giving it to God. I'm letting go of all these bad habits to take advantage of this because I know that I can set my daughters up for their college education off this one move. I could pay for all of my kids for the rest of their life. They can have security from this one altcoin cycle. Guys, I've done it so many different times. How much proof do you need? If you go on my YouTube channel, you go back all the way to my oldest videos, you'll see me broke in the office, man, in a sales office, leaving at 12 p.m., 11 p.m., putting in 12, 14-hour days. You'll see me back in the day going hard. Now I have my own office. I have my own office that I rent in downtown Orlando in the most strategic spot in Orlando, the best spot you could possibly get. And it all came from understanding crypto. You can do it too, but you can't do it unless you sacrifice. You have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice for what you want. I don't care what people are saying. It's not going to be easy. It's easier than other industries, but nothing in life that's worth it is easy. And you're going to have to change before this altcoin cycle, or whoever you are is going to get amplified. If you are a horrible person and you get 100x on an altcoin, you're going to lose it just as quick. The chances are very high. And that's how money works, if you didn't know that. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it, you will get left behind. This is the official prediction of the crypto power cycle. And I showed you with just undeniable evidence. Let me know if you guys have any questions below in the comment section. And I love you. Peace out.